We all live through 4 seasons of life. The first and the last, not really in your control, but the second and third season, that is what I care about. That is what I want you to understand. And I want you to have the best third season possible. We're going to talk about these 4 seasons with the one and only Anna Kelly. How you doing, Anna?
I'm doing great. Great to be here with you and very good topic. I've actually been thinking a lot about as I start to enter my 50th year and turn 50 later this year. It's like, oh my goodness, how did I get to middle age? How did this happen so quickly? um, yeah, and so it really gets you thinking about the different seasons of life and how it was before you got married and had kids, and then the years that you're raising your kids, if you've got them, then retirement years, and then the elderly years. I've got parents that are in their 70s. My grandmother's 97. And the health challenges that come along with that, where, like you said, you're not really in control of everything in that last season. So I've been thinking a lot about this, and would love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so I've been trying to play with an idea because, again, the beauty of seasons and why I think this holds, again, I'm totally playing with this still, is they can have different durations for different people. But simply said, the 4 seasons of life are this. Season number one, this is where somebody else is generally responsible for you, right?
Mm.
They feed you, they shelter you, they make sure you go to school, they make sure you're alive. That's season one. For some people, that ends as a teenager when they leave home, some at 18, some at 31, right? Whatever it is, right? Season one. Season number two is where you take ownership of your life, you start making your own money, and you generally start paying the bills. Now, that could be a job, it could be an entrepreneur endeavor, you could be an investor. It doesn't really matter. But season number two starts when you are generally responsible for yourself. Now, for some people, that takes 40 years. For some people, it's 10 years.
Hmm.
Season number three. Now, this is the one that I want people to get to. This is where you and I got to. That is where you have built up enough investments, enough businesses, enough whatever that spit off enough cash that you can live your life without selling your hours or wares any longer.
Right.
That is
What we
season
would
number
call
three.
retirement for those that are
Freedom,
working, right? Hmm.
certainly freedom. And then just to get to season number four, this is when you kind of revert back to season number one. If you are fortunate enough to live that long, at some point, others are once again going to take care of you, right? Old age. So if we are going to remove phase one or season one and season four, I want people to realize that season two, like you talked about in video number one, your son, all he needs is 2 grand a month.
Yeah.
His season two could theoretically be less than 3 years, theoretically.
Right.
And then he will have the next 50 plus in season three. Others who do the whole, save in your 401k for 40 years and hold on, your season two could be until you're 72 or 67 or 69. But that's season two. And I'm trying to help people realize, like you, that, hey, you should take some ownership of season two, live below your means, like we talked about in one, buy some assets, maybe 4 rentals, whatever it is, so you can get to season three. And then one more thought about season three, and this is a big deal for me. You and I have both been fortunate enough to travel. I've done a lot of travel without kids, right? You haven't done a lot of that yet. But when you
All with
start go,
kids.
yeah, all with kids, right? When you start to do it without kids and you start to take 5 and 6 star crazy vacations, you start to interact with a whole nother class of people in phase three. Generally speaking, they're all 70 plus, sometimes 80 plus. They're not very mobile, they're not very healthy. But this is why I want people to realize you got to get out of season two as fast as possible so you
Mm.
can enjoy season three. So that's a lot, but those are the 4 seasons as I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like those categorizations. I really do. I've not thought about it in terms of when I'm being taken care of, when I'm taking care of me, and when someone else is taking care of me. I mean, we do, but when we think of, financial periods, but that's a really good way to break it down and to think about it and think, how long do I have to trade my time for dollars in season 2, right?
Correct.
But again, if you think about it from that point that, okay, starting today, I have to take care of myself, and then maybe in the future, a family. How can I set myself up and design my season 2 from the beginning? How can we encourage our young people to do it from the beginning to
Yes.
say, what is the life that I want to live in at the point that I have financial freedom? What does that look like? What do I want it to look like? How much do I want to travel? How much is that going to cost me? How much do I need coming in consistently while I do whatever I want to do? Let's say it's travel, for example, where I don't have to show up to a job, and then reverse engineer that and say, okay, well, if I'm going to need that much money to live the life I want, how much assets do I need to buy that are going to bring in that much cash flow? And then how can I start by designing my career, my college degree that I choose, the job that I take, and then the investments that I make, such that it's going to allow me to shorten that time horizon and get there faster when I can enjoy it. And so I think if we think about those seasons, it's something every young person should think about, right? And I haven't really talked to my kids because I have one graduating actually this week, my second child, and then I have one that's in college. So I'll have two in college next year, and they want a very different path for their lives. But for both of them, I've said, you need to, from the beginning, think about, if I have a choice of multiple career options and I might like any of them, do I want the one that pays me 30,000 a year, 50,000 a year, or 100 to $200,000 a year? If I think I might like them equally as well, it's a no-brainer to choose the one that's going to make you the most money. But then as soon as you do that, that's only the first piece. You need to then say, I'm going to choose to live on X number of dollars a year. And for my kids, I've told them $2,000 to $2,500 a month, that's what
Yep.
they need to live on. Every penny above that, they need to give a little, they need to save a little, and then they need to invest all the rest. So I've told them, if you can
Yep.
live on 30%, tithe 10, save 10 for emergencies and for traveling and for fun, and invest 50% of it in 3 to 4 years is what we figured out. They could very much make work optional. My daughter wants to do mission work and travel. And I said, if you can work hard for 4 years and buy a few properties, you can now fund that without regard to the money and enjoy your time. For my son, it's make a high dollar income, invest for 2 or 3 years, and start a side hustle and become an entrepreneur on the side. And then, in a few years, he can have time freedom too. And then he'll probably build that business, that entrepreneurial spirit, like we talked about in the first video. But the sooner you can plan it, and if we're 30 or 40, start now, right? It's
Yeah.
never too late. But the sooner you say, this is the life I want in season 3, let me reverse engineer it, expand my means, live below my means. Imagine how much more time you can live in season 3 and enjoying it. When the sad reality is, and I don't remember the exact statistic, but I looked at this a few years back, the average man that retires of 65, 68, they're gone by the time they're 72, 78. And the sooner they retire, sometimes the sooner they die, if they don't have something to keep them active and keep them motivated. So you work all these years, if you don't make a plan to do it differently, by the time you retire and you're on a little bit of retirement income and Social Security, you can barely afford to enjoy much beyond a few vacations. And a
Yeah.
lot of people don't actually end up getting to enjoy it because of the health issues that they have or their age. And so imagine, Michael, if we could get everybody to start at 18, at least, like, you graduate, let's plan it, and have
Mhm.
them by the time they're 28, even 10 years, right? It takes most people 10 years. We did in 10 years, raising a family, working a full-time job, and side hustling. That was hard. But imagine if you didn't have to
Yeah.
do all of that, and by 28 or 30, everybody
Oh,
could be financially free. It's possible. It's very
yeah.
possible.
No, it's very this is why this is important to me. Again, I'm still playing with it. I'm sharing with people. I'm getting feedback, tweaking it. But the whole goal of the 4 seasons is to get you, the person listening, to own season 2.
Right.
Because you want to get to season 3 as soon as possible. And to your point, I want season 3 to be awesome for you. I want you to be
Yeah.
happy. I want you to do whatever the heck you want. If you want to do mission work, great. You want to coach soccer, great. You want to, whatever it is, I want you to get
Build a
to
new
season.
business.
Yeah,
The
build a
great
new
thing about
business. Yeah.
season 3 too, if you go back and you look at a lot of famous people that we know are very wealthy entrepreneurs, a lot of them didn't even start until they were 40, 50, 60, right? So you
Yeah.
can be financially free like we are and still say, I want to do more. Now what can I go, either build something philanthropic or build new businesses? Like it doesn't mean that you just sit there. Some people think that sounds boring. I don't want to retire. What am I going to do with my life? Like that just makes you have so many options that you can play with so many different things that you
Yeah.
can be many, many, many things in that third season beside just, sitting at home eating bonbons and going on river cruises, right? So
Yeah.
season 3 is an exciting time that can also be a building time, legacy
Can be.
building,
Yeah.
impact making. So that's kind of where I'm thinking of myself heading into season 3 now as I hit 50. But really, I retired 5 years ago. But
Oh,
even
yeah.
when I retired from the day job, I've built multiple businesses in the last 5 years that I've really enjoyed. And so, but I've really been thinking a lot about that season 3 as I've kind of retired from work, built some businesses, I'm turning 50, and I'm excited about all the things that I can still do over the next several years, the next hopefully several decades, so that if we stay active and we do what we enjoy, hopefully we also lengthen season 4, but we're taking
Yeah.
care of ourselves. So
Yep.
physically, we might need some help as we age and our bodies age. But imagine if we can, have a lot more choices instead of our life being at the whim of whoever
Mhm.
can take care of and afford to take care of us. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's a situation many, many people are in. So even if you're older and listening to this, if you're nearing the retirement age or stage 3, don't think you've missed the boat. You still have time to
Yeah.
make stage 4 look a lot more like season 3, I think.
Yeah. At the end of the day, for me, the goal is to make season 2 as short as possible and make season 3 as long and, more importantly, happy. I
Yes.
want you to enjoy season 3.
Yeah.
And whether that's, again, I always talk about chasing impact, right? I just had a conversation
Yes.
with a gentleman named Omar. He's 31. He's building a big social media presence and doing podcasting and all of that. But one of his big things is baby boomers and Gen X need to get in front of a camera because we have stories and experiences to share. We don't
Yeah.
need 20-year-old life coaches. I mean, crazy,
Right.
you know? So again, there's so many things we could do on the side in season 2 so that when we get to season 3, we have something already built. And that was something that again was a mistake of mine, right? I kind of ended phase 2 in a second, like a 5-second, brain decision, and I jumped to phase 3 without a plan. Don't
Mm,
do that. Don't do that.
yeah.
Have a plan. Have at least the seeds of a plan, because again, if
Mhm.
you get to phase 3, trust me, I did this, you will get depressed. If you have no mission, no passion, and you're 45 at phase 3, you will be depressed. Trust me.
Yes. Absolutely. And that's a really good point. A lot of people at retirement age, whatever it is that they're doing, they do go into kind of a funk because you've made your identity what you've done for 30 years or 40 years or however long that is. And suddenly you're not doing that anymore. Those people don't know you anymore. You're not getting the same accolades anymore. And it's like, what am I here for? What's my purpose? And unless you have something that you really say, I've got a vision for things that I can still do to make an impact and to find meaning and to enjoy, it really is sad what happens to a lot of people that retire. And I struggled for a while and I still struggle some days, Michael, to say, when I left AIG, it was like, okay, well, I didn't want to just sit around. By that time, I built all this so I could be home with my kids, but by the time I retired, they were all in school. So then it's like, what am I going to do with the 8 hours of my day that they're away? I want to do something that's meaningful and purposeful. And so I built a few businesses and they all have an impact component because once you get to a place where you're financially free and you have the money that you need, you realize the value of your time and you realize I'm not going to just chase money. I got to chase purpose and excitement and things that are going to make, you know, have meaning for me. So it can be an exciting phase, but I think if you don't have a plan and like you said, you retire and you don't know what to do, you can kind of get stuck and in a funk and not know who you are. And it's okay to take some time to figure that out, and to pivot and to try other things. But unless you've built that financial freedom, you're not just retiring and living on Social Security, right? Unless you've built that financial freedom that allows you to even explore what else you want to do and to put some seed money into starting new businesses and new ideas, it's going to be a lot harder than if you just plan your life by design. And that's what I'm all about, right? Living life by design. Always have a vision of what you want and the impact you want to make a few years down the road, and then reverse engineer that with your finances. And that's how you, I think, have a really great season 3 and season 4.
Yeah, I love this conversation. Anna, where can people find you?
Right. You can find me here on your show, social media, Anna Kelly, REI Mom, for real estate coaching and consulting, AnnaKellyInvesting.com.
Thank you so much.